Hey guys, I am back with another book review. It's been a while, I realize this, and I have been reading. I just haven't been publishing any videos, uh, and that's because of lack of inspiration, laziness, whatever. But I'm here, so that's all that matters. I'm here now, and the book I'm going to be reviewing today is I read this about a month and a half ago, and it's the last fiction book I've read. I've been reading um, a lot of nonfiction, which I'll probably review too. But this book I wanted to get out. It's October. Pretty not very fall like weather. It's really nice out. Feels more like late April, early May than a week before Halloween. But here we are. It's October, and thought it would be appropriate to review Richard Laymon's Blood Games. This book comes in at 467 pages, and it was released in '92 originally, and Leisure re-released this edition in 2003. Now, Leisure hasn't been in print for many years. I think 2010 or something, and Leisure is an imprint of Dorchester Publishing, which had some controversy because writers like Brian Keene and some other writers, um, I guess they weren't getting paid for the books that Dorchester was selling. So I'm not really sure what's up with the overall company, but I know Leisure does not. They're not in print anymore. So these books here, these editions are hard to find unless you're going to buy it from somebody off of eBay or whatever. But let's get into the story. As many of Richard Laymon is no stranger to us horror book fans. He is an excellent writer. A lot of people say he's a simple writer. That's usually what I hear or what I've read reading anything about Richard Laymon. He's a simple writer, but what I find is he's a very technically sound writer, and his editing is always on point. Um, the guy was, I think he was an English major. He taught English and stuff. So it's his editing and his style is really on point. Um, there's not a lot of room for error in these books. Now, if you're talking about plot, you just don't like his writing, that's a different story. But I'm not going to criticize his actual prose because I actually think Richard Layman could be very poetic at times. I know that sounds weird to say with some of the subject matter he writes, but I love his prose. I, I've always been um, a big fan of his work since I got into him many years ago. But anyway, let's get into the plot here. This is the story of five friends who meet in college, all women, and it's been a month and a half. So I hope I remember names. There's Cora, Abilene, Vivian, Heather, or Helen, and and Finley. How can I forget Finley? But anyway, they meet in college, and this book goes from the present, and then it also has flashbacks to when they met. So I gotta tell you, there's nothing scary that happens in this book for like the first 170 pages. But what Layman does do, and he does give us, is a lot of character development and uh, like a lot of description of the location. It's like you feel like you've been at this totem pole lodge. And let me get into that because I am getting ahead of myself. What the story is about is these five girls who met in college, and they have made a pact that when they graduate college, they will get together once a year, and they will pick a spot to go to. And this year it's Helen's pick. So Helen is the fun-loving horror nerd. She loves horror films. She loves horror literature and all this stuff. So she picks this creepy um, totem pole lodge. And Totem Pole Lodge has a little bit of history, not very nice history. There was a bunch of murders, and a lot of people died. So naturally, Helen wants to go to this creepy Totem Pole Lodge where it's now abandoned. And and once they get there, like I said, Laymon sets us up with the character development. There's a lot of dialogue. It's a very heavily dialogue-driven book, but there's a lot of dialogue, but there's also a lot of description. So we sense where we're at. I mean, he sets us up really nicely, in other words. And when the book finally does start to get scary, uh, it is good. It moves along quite quickly. Um, I love the camaraderie between the girls. Like I just, if they were real, I would hang out with them. They're all fun, and as I said, the book kind of goes into the backstory of like some chapters are um, some chapters are dedicated to like when they first met and the things that they get themselves into in college. And let me tell you something about these girls. Don't mess with them because they're not malicious, but they will get you back. There's quite a few scenes when some boys are messing with them in college, or the dean of the college is really mean and nasty, and they mess with her. So don't mess with these girls. They will get back. They will get back at you a hundredfold. There's a really creepy scene when on Halloween night when they go into this house. I don't want to spoil it, but it's actually one of the freakier chapters in a Laymon book that I've read. Um, at the end of the chapter, there's just like this gut punch that I really like. And if you've read it, you're probably gonna know what I'm talking about. But like I said, as the book goes on, we get into more of what's actually going on in the present with this Totem Pole Lodge, and it's typical Layman stuff. Like there's this weird witch doctor that lives in the woods named Batty, which is appropriately named. They don't know. The girls don't know if he's actually a woman or a man or whatever. He's just this weird witch doctor who casts these spells and stuff. And there's this like weird kid running around the premise, and one of the girls. And I don't know if I'm spoiling this, but I don't know. But bear with me. One of the girls goes missing, and from there they're trying to find their friend, and they're trying to find where she went, and they don't know. But all they know is there's a bad history with this Totem Pole Lodge, and that people had been murdered there. So they're trying to figure out if that's a correlation to what they're going through now. Like I said, this Richard Laymon book is one of the better books that I've read. He has written a few stinkers. I'm not going to sit here and say that I love everything he's ever written because I can think of like one or two books now that I probably won't reread, and if I do, it will be only to review it for you guys out there. But like I could tell you right now, Among the Missing, I did not like at all. It was boring. I didn't If I remember correctly, I don't even remember anything about it. I just remember when I read it years ago, I did not like it. I own it. I'll read it again just to give it a shot because I do that a lot. Like if you guys remember when I reviewed No Country for Old Men, I really did not like that book when I first read it, and then I did a review here a few months ago, and my opinion changed because I was wrong. But yeah, I'll work through some more Richard Laymon. Uh, yeah, so this book is really good. It's Layman. He writes women. A lot of his a lot of his books revolve around characters of women who have been like sexually assaulted or raped, and then like in the next chapter they're like shacking up with some like new guy, which I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's like highly unlikely for a woman who has just been sexually assaulted to in the next chapter have sex with some random guy that they just meet, right? And there's stuff like that. And I know I'm reading fiction. I know I'm reading fantasy. I understand that. But when he writes for women, it doesn't always seem like they're making the right decisions, or that a real person in that sort of situation would do things. But this book here, aside from a few things that the girls make, just because they are still, even though they're out of college and now they're married and stuff, they do act like adolescent teenagers at times. And but it's in a fun way. You know what I mean? It's like, oh wow, it's like these guys, they're still really cool, and I would hang out with them, and they're written really well. Uh, so yeah, I really, you know, if Layman was ever criticized for not being able to write for women, or you know, because I know Stephen King went through that too, like, oh, this guy doesn't know how to write, you know, in a woman's voice or whatever, through, you know, by character. Check out this book first, because Richard Layman does a pretty good job. And like I said, these women are, they're they're not powerful, they're not naive, but there's something about them, like when they are together as, you know, one, they're unstoppable. People mess with them and they always get back at them. And then now they're faced with the worst situation they've ever been faced with, and they have to fight back. And you know, it's, without giving a lot away about the plot, it is a really good book. I was turning the pages as quickly as I could, you know, with life and work and everything else going on. And it is a thick book. It's like 467 pages. And like I said, it doesn't, you know, if you're looking for, you know, like a Brian Keene style, like from the first chapter, just a gut punch, you're not going to get that with this. This is a slow burn for at least the first 200 pages, at least. I know I said 170, but it might even be 200, because there's not a lot of scary stuff that happens. You know, it's just a lot of character development, location, getting us set up with, you know, the surrounding, letting us figure it out in our heads, and that's where Layman is a master. Um, you know, he doesn't, he's not like a very wordy writer, where he has to describe the sky in like 3 pages, like some other authors I've read. But he gets his point across with as little as possible and as simply as he can, while still being a technically sound prose author. So yeah, Richard Layman, Blood Games, check it out. It's a really good book. Uh, I don't think you'll be disappointed. If you like Richard Layman, I know a lot of people say, you know, start off with his Beast House series and Traveling Vampire Show, which I will say I have not read the Traveling Vampire Show. I don't even own it, and I want that book. But this is not a bad book to start off with. Blood Games it's really fun. Uh, you know, you like the characters. I mean, because if you don't like the characters, you're not gonna make it through this book. And I thought the characters were fun. I know Finley, the character Finley, she is the girl who always has, you know, the old VHS camcorder strapped to her shoulder, and she's always filming the, you know, whatever they're doing. She's always documenting, and that was me when I was a kid. You know, I always had my parents' old VHS camera, so I related. You know, Helen is the horror girl. She loves horror films, and Finley's the filmmaker, and Vivian's really cool. Like, these characters are just, they're cool chicks, you know, you want to hang out with them. And if they weren't that cool, and if it wasn't for Layman's character development and making me care about these characters, I probably wouldn't have sat through the book. Probably would have, you know, given up, you know, 200-300 pages in. But that's not the case with this book. It's a good book. There's a lot of good stuff in there. You know, a lot of violence toward the end, which is typical Layman too. A lot of weird backwoods hillbilly characters, which is typical Layman. So you have all the Layman tropes in here, for lack of a better word, and it's very satisfying. It's not boring. It doesn't run on and on and on and on and on. It's just a good book, and yeah, I'm going on and on and on. So I'm going to end this now. Richard Layman's Blood Games. Check it out. Right in time for Halloween. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Guys, thank you for watching. another video. I know it's been a long time. Thanks for being patient. And for all you other booktubers, I am watching your stuff. I don't always comment, but I am watching. And you know, John from Books of Blood, like I'm always enjoying your videos. Keep doing it, man. Eric Smith over at the Low Budget Horror Show or Low Budget Review Show, I think. I love his videos. So just keep making videos. If you like my stuff, like, share, subscribe, uh, hit the little bell thing for a notification, and I'll see you at the next book review. Thanks again for watching, guys, and as always, stay within those pages because it's a lot better than reality. Unless, of course, you're at the Totem Pole Lodge and, you know, you run into a weird old witch doctor named Batty. That wouldn't be too fun. Alright, guys, take it easy. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.